Okay. Yeah, looks like I'm live. Just get my microphone set up a little better spot here. All right. Sticky. Sticky. All right. Now, let me just give it a few minutes here. This counter seems always, hey, what's up, Gato? This counter is seemingly always a little behind the times. Good thing I know that now, though. Did I understand correctly? Borders are still open to internet. Oh, uh, yeah, actually, let me check on that. That's one of the things I was going to report on here. So, because yeah, Trudeau just made his big announcement, right? So, Canada's restricting who can enter the country due to COVID-19. Is what I'm seeing. This one's out of CTV. I think. Yeah, they're all reporting the same thing. So it says Justin Trudeau. Oh, here, let me put this on the screen here. Or actually, no, I'll just read from it, I guess, because why not? Let's put it on the screen. Let's get used to doing this screen. Well, today, keeping your social distancing, right? It's so crazy. I tell you, one thing this whole coronavirus thing is going to do is, like I say, all those things that I put in there, and then you could add even more. But it's going to have such an effect on getting people to really think critically about a lot of issues like economics, borders, education, economics, education. I got it yesterday. I didn't get to the education part of it. I was a little busy reading the comments because some great comments in there, some great questions. So I kind of got preoccupied. But yeah, I definitely want to deal with the education side of things because that's another thing. But let's get back here. I'm going to try sharing this screen, like I say. So, oh, wrong one. Oh, wrong one. Okay, back over here. Oh, wait, no. What's that going on? Take that out of there. Get rid of that. Why is that? Let's do this. No. All right. I don't know why that's showing up in the corner there. Okay. Tab. There we go. Here we go. So let's share this bad boy here. So, oh, I got to scroll up on it. So as you can see, Canadian closing borders to most people are not citizens or permanent residents. Right. Following all the latest coronavirus. But hey, don't worry. You can still roll across the Roxwood border and get the CBSA, the RCMP to carry your luggage for you. We've still got the bellhops down there, right? Anyways, let's read what they are saying. Ottawa, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has announced that Canada will be shutting the borders to non-Canadian citizens with the exception of their immediate families, permanent residents, diplomats, air crews, and U.S. citizens at this time. So lots of exceptions there, right? Anyone who has symptoms of COVID-19 will not be able to enter Canada. So I'm hoping that includes, permanent residents. Families. Permanent residents. That's the thing. Permanent residents are people. I don't know if that's people that. Well, no, permanent residence is different than the. Okay, sorry, I was thinking about something else there, folks. Don't pay no mind. He is addressing the nation from self isolation. Yeah, because his wife got it. Yeah, whatever. Trudeau said the virus has been spreading quickly. Trudeau is also set to announce additional flight restrictions, seeing some international flights rerouted to Montreal, Toronto, Calgary, or Vancouver for dedicated enhanced screening, which, yeah, oh man, I'm seeing a lot of reports, a lot of tweets. That's one of the few good things that Twitter is good for is, seeing lots of tweets in the feed. But man, a lot of people showing that the screening just isn't taking place, which is why all the provinces, or at least was it 4 provinces now, have taken that onus on themselves to do some screening. Because yeah, apparently federally, yeah, they're not doing much in terms of screening people at the airports. From flights coming, I heard from flights coming from Italy, from China, and the hilarious part, I'm sure a lot of you've seen that as well, is this whole thing. Oh, let me get back to removing the sharing of the screen there. But I'm not sure if you're hearing this stuff as well, but they've updated to using a touch screen, right? So have you seen this? You're using a touch screen now to learn about, infections and all that stuff at these airports and places. Like, really though? A touchscreen device? Isn't that kind of counterproductive considering everybody's going to be touching that screen? Don't you think that'll help spread? Although that's actually the thing, I guess they're saying most of the infection comes through your respiratory, but still, touch the screen, scratch your mouth, your mustache, twiddle your mustache, something. Like I say, it just does not seem to be a wise thing to do. But what do you expect? It's the federal government of Canada. It's the Trudeau Liberals. Talk about inept people, folks. That's how inept these people are actually. Not just handling this situation, but everything. And I mean, the fact that now they're going into full on just pump up the credit, right? Or the debts and deficits now. Just all bets are off now. They're just going to pump it. And I mean, what the US now, what $1.5 trillion was the first announcement of just print that money, just print $1.5 trillion. Now they're saying another 500 million. So now it's up to 2 trillion. And I think it was like 2 or 250 more billion for another portion that they're going to be probably using for other activities kind of related to this. So basically you're well over $2 trillion and that's just from the Federal Reserve stimulus. Then you've seen that all the central banks are lowering the rates. Central bank, actually the Fed dropped a full interest rate, a full percentage. What was it, yesterday or this morning? Yesterday, I believe it was. So now the interest rate in the U.S. is 0.25%. That's the Fed's interest rate, by the way, not the bank's rate, but that's some really, really low rates. So what do we got here? Did I understand? Yeah, so borders are still open to international flights. Well, it is to some, obviously, right? Certain ones are being restricted, but not all. Okay, viral loads are sufficient to infect the population. Days later, and $1 short. Thanks. Yeah. Hello, friends. Hey, what's up, Howard G? Man, can't Trudeau take a 4-year vacation? I like him better when he was smoking weed on a beach. Yeah, really. Anyways, like I say, I did want to get to the education portion that I didn't quite get to yesterday when I was doing my first stream regarding this whole coronavirus outbreak. And I'll share that as well because I thought this was completely hilarious. But they're going to have to. They're kind of, because all the schools, or not all of them, but a lot of schools are being closed down, and basically they're having to transition some of them to online learning. Yeah, they didn't want to. Like the teachers are totally fighting against it, right? See how priorities change. See how the mentality changes now. The incentive structure has changed now, right? So let me get to share this. Okay, there we go. So check this out here, folks. As you can see, the headline out of CBC News. We can't flip a switch. E-learning unlikely solution for all Canadian students if COVID-19 closes schools. Well, why? What's to prevent people? Like, if you're in self-isolation or social distancing, and let's admit it, folks, pretty much the overwhelming majority of Canadian households have access to internet in some shape or form. Some might be slower than others, of course, and have that slow dial-up speed. But if it's online courses, which you have, probably a mixture of text, audio, and video. But, if you put it in lower quality, you can still get your video. Trust me, I'm someone that lives sticks, so I know all about low internet connection speeds and stuff. But yet, nope, there's no excuse now. People can be educated and informed, and that goes along with adults and children alike. But at the very least, like I say, first, when it was just the teacher strike, just to have 2 mandated online courses or online I believe they were courses for what they were promoting as part of the changes in the Ontario education curriculum is they were mandating 2 online courses. So get people familiar with using online resources for education purposes, which I think was a great idea, great initiative. I mean, think about it. Think of the cost, the expenditure for the huge public sector education system in this country when these are jobs that truly don't need robots. The internet makes most teaching professions completely redundant and unnecessary, completely useless. It's like going out and spending money, right, to buy, a a new horse to travel into town in the age of the auto, right? It's like, why would you do something so foolish, right? You have automobiles nowadays. Like, why would you go and buy a horse to travel 100 miles if that's, if you have to travel a long distance in an era when you have automobiles? I mean, it's just ridiculous that we have such an overbloated education system with all these very, very entitled teachers, and the cost for the education that's imposed on we, the taxpayers, the parents, for what? To keep all these fucking overpaid, underworked teachers, administrators, principals, all these people that are pigs at the troughs, to keep them all employed, right? Whereas, disruptions to the private sector are happening all the time. Lots of people are losing their jobs, their livelihoods, and incomes in the private sector. I mean, think about people in retail with these automated machines now, where everyone, the self-checkout, right? A lot of people in retail losing their jobs as a result of all these things. But yet, all this overbloat public bureaucracy and the public education system in this country, everyone's still getting their jobs, and they're still trying to increase the amount of people that going into these jobs when, like I say, absolutely not needed in the age of information. Education is literally at your fingerprints. And I mean, that's, like I say, some of the best teachers out in the world can put their courses. Jordan Peterson was someone that did it years ago. And this is a guy, like I say, if you go to the University of Toronto, you pay heavy. You pay big money to go to his, to take his class. Meanwhile, you could get it online. If the resources, if the incentive was proper, you could have all of the greatest minds, not just some of these, teachers that are basically just going to work to get their paycheck and aren't really doing a great job. Because think about the literacy rates in this country are really bad, especially financial and economic literacy. But we've also heard that a lot of students are getting a failing grade in math, right? And writing and learning history, obviously, in terms of why. All that information is right there at their fingertips, at everybody's disposal. And you don't have to, especially with this coronavirus, you don't have to place yourself in a precarious situation where you're all, like a bunch of sardines in a can. No, you can do it in the privacy of your own home, in the comfort of your own home, right? So no, the education system, this is going to play effect, like I say, not just in the economics and how that's going to play out, but also, and the borders. Let's not forget about the borders, because now all of a sudden borders matter, right? Borders didn't matter prior to the corona outbreak. But see, the coronavirus, just like, Justin Trudeau's wife caught the coronavirus. So borders matter now, right? It's starting to affect, the coronavirus is not going to discriminate against politicians, those in law enforcement, right? Or those who are part of the bureaucracy or ruling class. It's not going to discriminate. It has the potential to inflict them as well. So now all of a sudden, borders matter, right? All these people that were all open borders proponents, right? The Trudeau liberals and all these dipshits. Now borders matter. Yeah. Nice of them to finally catch up. Too bad it took an emergency, basically like that we're getting here now, to learn of this. But hey, better late than ever. And like I say, this is going to have, there's going to be some negativity. I'm not trying to, pump this up that, the coronavirus is going to be good. No, it's going to be detrimental to some people, some worse than others, of course. But like I say, it's also going to shift mindsets and incentive structures. Rest assured on that one. But basically, this is in regards to Ontario announced public schools will be closed for 2 weeks after March break. So yeah, 2 weeks. And that's the other thing. Think about all these young students that are going to be taught at home, right? Now, if that's what some of these initiatives are going to do, or some of these bureaucrats are going to do, is doing some online education in the interim. Once you get the kids learning at home and realize they don't have to go to school and put up with some of those idiotic teachers and all the bullshit, do you think they're going to want to go back there, right? You give them the sniff of getting an education in a new 21st century manner. Yeah. Like I say, I hope this happens, folks. I hope this happens, because this is a change that really does have to take place. And it should have been talked about prior to the coronavirus outbreak. But hey, whatever it takes, people are talking about it now. So let me close this here once again. So we've got that. Can't flip a switch. So let me close down a couple of these windows here. And then, of course, I had this one. Actually, let me go ask or check on some questions here so I don't get too awfully far behind on everything today. At least he's not screwing up the country when he's stoned. Yeah. Weakest leader on the planet. Yeah, he's weak for sure. Hey, what's going on, Rika? Oh, by the way, Rika, you have that thing you sent me. Actually, I'll wait and you probably replied back to me in the Twitter. Was it the Twitter message or whatever? But I definitely want to check it out. But there was nothing for me to click on so I'm still not sure how I'm supposed to do that. But I'll talk to you about it later, Rika. Okay, I had a dream, and 2/3 of the people of the planet died from the stupidity in the dream. A doctor told me you can't cure stupid. Well, I'd say 2/3 is quite a stretch, I would imagine, but you definitely can't cure stupidity, right? It's unfortunately. Well, I mean, you can try, but the media have been so responsible with this crisis. I have seen mass hysteria for the past 2 weeks, and it's only getting worse. This might lead to riots at some point. Could happen. Well, especially if people start getting more crazy about getting supplies and stocking up, and yeah, because that's the thing. Once people recognize that there's scarcity, right? Scarcity. Yeah, things can get out of hand. Actually, I want to share something with you folks because this was a great article that someone shared with me. And it's quite. Hey, what's up, Tommy Gunn? This one is. Let me see. Maybe I can just copy that and post it right in the stream. Yeah, let's try that. You might have to hover over it if you can to copy and paste. Yeah, it's kind of a long link. Let me put it in there. See what it does. Does it come up as an actual hyperlink? Nah, it doesn't. Shoot. Anyways, that's a link to a Wired article talking about the well, here, let me just show you what it looks like. Pull up another screen share and kind of making some comparisons to the 1918 Spanish flu. Oh, by the way, yeah, I watched Pandemic last night again. Like, I think most of us have seen it, but yeah, just like the wife was, I don't think she had watched it before with me, but when we were watching, she's like, "Holy crap. This is exactly what's going on now." It's like, yeah, but that was a movie. I think it was actually loosely based on the SARS outbreak or something like that. But she was like, "Holy crap, everything in this movie seems very much familiar and similar with," and yeah, it really does. So I don't know if you want to get some. It is on Netflix too, by the way. That movie Contagion. So if you want to check that out, it's quite popular and on demand these days, obviously, right? But yeah, this one here out of Wired magazine, COVID-19 is not the Spanish flu. Anyways, they talk about the death, like the rates of death in comparison to those who are infected by the disease and how the numbers were kind of oddly reported back in the day. But the Spanish flu was, quite devastating if you learn about the history and how many people that died and or were infected of it. It was quite devastating, obviously. Okay, let me end that again. Okay, go back over to here. Right on. All right. And we'll close that one out as well. So, like I say, have less stuff on the screen. Oh, yeah, I got this out of the Globe and Mail as well. Border agents to start warning all air travelers of 14-day isolation period. So, this is another thing that's going to take place. Let me pull that up. Might as well do that as well. Screen share. Okay. All right, there you go. So, border agents, and yeah, this was March. Today, it was published today. It's weird how the text is on the screen, anyways, but it's a Reuters, but being republished in the Globe and Mail. The Canadian Border Services Agency says it is adding new measures at international airports after Canadian travelers returning from abroad decided to decry the lack of screening. Yeah, see? Yeah, a lot of Canadians were like, nobody's screening shit. So, of course, the people had to complain, holy fuck, the government dipshits are never out in front for anything. They're always way behind, right? Jeez. The agency enhanced measures continue to be added, including new screening questions for all travelers arriving from any international destination. The CBSA tweeted photos of computer kiosks displaying the new questions. Yeah, we saw that. Oh, the touchboard one where you can't answer it, right? Well, you got to touch the screen to answer the questions. Wow. One ask, and as if people are going to be like, some of them won't even bother to answer those fucking questions. It's not a person who's going to ask you that. It's just a screen. So you're like, yeah, maybe I won't answer. I don't know. Like, it just seems kind of ridiculous. One asks, do you currently have a cough, difficulty breathing, or feel you have a fever? Another display asks it's just, like I say, it's just a display. Ask the traveler to acknowledge that they are being asked to self-isolate. I acknowledge we are being asked to self-isolate for the next 14 days to prevent the potential spread of COVID-19. It reads along with a acknowledged button. Do you have to push it? If not, they'll just move on. The CBSA said Monday the changes will come as quickly as possible in the coming days. On Friday, the federal government recommended that all Canadians abroad return home immediately. Many Canadian travelers took to social media over the weekend to report that upon return to Canada from international trips, they did not feel they had been properly screened. Right? I picked up my son at Pearson on Friday night. He was returning from Vietnam with a brief 3-hour stopover in Taipei. Only screening on return was CBSA asking if he had been to Italy, Iran, Korea, or China, tweeted John Bond. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said Sunday that he had heard directly from CBSA public security officers or officials who are bringing in the new measures right now. A lot of people came back from, say, the Caribbean or somewhere else on vacation and said, well, I wasn't really asked much. Well, they were not coming from a place of concern. Therefore, there were different protocols, Mr. Trudeau told. One of the things is very mindful is we do not want public health officials to be using up their time. So I kind of get that, right? If you're a place that doesn't have much in terms of reportings or outbreak, then I kind of understand that. But the rest of it seems pretty fucked up. She said all Canadians returned from abroad are being instructed to self-isolate at home, monitor themselves for symptoms. So that's good at least. Additional signage. Travelers are also being asked to complete a public health coronavirus form, she said, so health officials can monitor and track those who have been identified as a concern. Surgical mask. Their CBSA officers are providing travelers with surgical mask and instructions how to use it. These measures complement routine travel. Okay, the agency confirmed Sunday that one of its officers at Toronto Pearson Airport tested positive for the COVID-19 and is in isolation at home. So, yeah, so there's that. Okay. Close that one down. And then, like I say, they are restricting who can come into the country. So some stuff is taking place. Let me get back to the comments here. Oh, yeah, by the way, hey, Tommy Gunn, I see in the chat. Liquidizing asset. Gold is at a time low. People liquidizing. Okay. Yeah. They don't want parents realizing that schooling is all about the indoctrination. Yeah, Rika. Well, that, like I say, about the education thing, that hopefully this will get people to shift. Like, even if it's only temporary, once you've temporarily had that difference, right? Dipped your toes in those waters. Like I say, I think it's something that parents and students alike will be clamoring for. Hopefully, the media has been reporting on every single infected on every single death. Imagine if they did the same about male suicide. Yeah, maybe people would start caring about men trying to fix the problem. Yeah, that's true, Gato. That is true. Like I say, nobody gives a shit about that stuff, though. Like, it's the thing. Certain people, they don't give a shit about. But yeah, this like I say, this virus isn't going to discriminate. So now they're concerned for their own well-being. So we're going to benefit as a result of that, I guess. Well, benefit or maybe not, because they were also talking about, the potential for using authoritarian measures, to go on full lockdown, like some of the countries around the world are doing. And yeah, well, I mean, if they do that, like I say, you got to be careful of what they're going to try to put forth, right? Because it's going to criminalize a lot of behaviors that you would think, what do you mean? I just want to go, go to the store. Well, yeah, well, if you don't, if they put you in lockdown or quarantine and you don't obey their orders, well, you could get yourself in a whole lot of trouble that way, right? I guess Twitter doesn't like Discord invites. Oh, what happened? I don't want to pop your bubble, but now that the schools are closed and the kids are home, they won't study. They're going to play video games. No doubt. But I mean, That's very possible. But like I say, there has to be for every paradigm shift, there's going to be growing pains, but they're still going to have to try to get educated in some way. And I mean, the fact that we live in the age of information, it's quite easy to get an education regardless. But I know what you're saying. Yeah, that's possible. Heck, a lot of them go to school, and that's what they do while they're in school. Put their head down on the desk, get their phone between their legs, right? Not like they're learning a whole lot in school either, as the test results, right? And statistics have shown. IB algorithms nods at peeps. Who doesn't love living smack dab in the middle of a of a movie? Oh, Idiocracy. Yeah, that was a good movie. That was hilarious. Danger, danger, Will Robinson. But yeah, for those of you who are in rural communities or in the outskirts of major urban centers, this isn't going to have quite the effect on you as it will for some of those people that live in the big city. That's for sure. Hey, I'm caught up to the comments already. Yeah, not nearly as many people in the stream today. Probably lots of stream going on today, I would imagine. But like I say, I felt I had to. I probably won't keep this one going nearly as long as the one yesterday. But because I didn't really get to the education thing, I thought, geez, I really should cover the education aspect of this. Then I figured I'll just do another quick stream here and make sure that I've covered that as well. Oh, and there was this other one thing. Like I say, don't want to get into any conspiracy theory crap because who would know? But it was all this stuff was all reported on, and I'm just offering it so that other people have the information as well. Use it for whatever you want, right? But this is something else that came out. What was it last year? Here we go. Let me just make sure it's showing up on there. Oh, where'd it go? Huh? What happened? There we go. So, as you can see, the headline of this National Post article was biowarfare experts question why Canada was sending lethal viruses to China. I think the Chinese activities are highly suspicious, one expert said after it was revealed a Winnipeg lab sent samples of Ebola and Henipavirus, whatever, to China. So, like I say, some pretty crazy shit here. This was reported, if you look, see down here, it was Tom Blackwell. It was reported August 18th, 2019. In a tabletop pandemic exercise at Johns Hopkins University last year, a pathogen based on the emergent Nipah virus was released by fictional extremists, killing 150 million people. So they were just doing a kind of experiment, I guess, or whatever. A less apocalyptic scenario mapped out by a blue ribbon U.S. panel envisioned Nipah being dispersed by terrorism, claiming over 6,000 American lives. Scientists from Canada's National Microbiology Laboratory have also said the highly lethal bug is a potential bioweapon. But this March, that same lab shipped samples of the Henipavirus family and of Ebola to China, which has long been suspected of running a secretive biological warfare. And there's actually a link here. Let me click on that. National Defense Magazine, I guess. So I'll keep this so that I can archive that as well. China strongly denies it makes germ weapons, and Canadian officials say the shipment was part of its efforts to support public health research worldwide. Sharing of such samples internationally is relatively standard practice. So, like I say, I don't know about this stuff, so I don't know. It could be. It could be as they're suggesting. Just it could be completely normal, right? I don't know. I have no idea. But there is this, and this was last year, like I say, that was being reported on. Just like when I was talking about yesterday, those a couple other articles, one in particular to CBC talking about that Winnipeg facility. So, is it just coincidence? Hey, could very well be, but maybe not either. Who would know? I surely can't know. I'm not in a position to know. But I still, at the very least, I like to know of this information, and hopefully you do as well. So let me close that down. Okay. When you think about it, those who invested in pharmaceuticals must be making a killing right now. Yeah. People need to chill the fuck out about bioweapons. They need to understand that the UN enables for countries to share dangerous viruses and bacteria for study. That's not unusual. Okay, cool. Well, that, like I say, could very well be that's the case, Gato. You could be completely 100% correct on that. When you think about those who invested in pharmaceuticals and what was it? Is it Procter and Gamble, right? It's Procter and Gamble that makes Purell. But yeah, that'd be good stock to buy right now. It's not being beaten up at all, right? For sure, because that's the thing. And even with the commodities, oil and gas, this would actually be. I'm not into the market. I don't like playing those games, but yeah, oil and gas commodities that are actually going to be required regardless of this. I mean, yeah, the prices are going to be depressed for a while, but if everyone's fleeing the oil and gas sector because of this, this is a buying opportunity at the prices this low because yeah, it's even though we will transition, eventually at some point in time to different renewables resources, oil and gas isn't going anywhere anytime soon. It's going to be around for quite a while. Just like I say, just use common sense. Well, especially if you're an investor, common sense goes a long way. All right. Okay, what else we got here? Just wanted to see what else I got here, folks. Like I say, if anyone's got any questions in the chat, even if it's not particularly related to the coronavirus, feel free to ask if you want. Canada ban entry, okay. Yeah, the markets are still plunging. Yeah, all the major sports venues are, they're all basically. You might not even have a season for a lot of major sports things. Apparently, Major League Baseball pushed opening day back until, well, at least they're just pushing it back until mid-May. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure. I kind of mentioned this too about the UK government with their trying to do the herd immunity plan. I don't know how that's going to work out, but it'll be an interesting experiment for sure. Where they're not really shutting a whole lot of things down. They're taking care of the weak, the elderly, and those with the major health problems or issues that would be at serious risk to this. But basically, they're leaving like most venues open, like concerts and schools, because what their thought on that, and that their major medical, the medical guy over there that's advising them on this, and it kind of makes sense if you think about it. If you make the people that have the strongest resiliency, right? Like people that are of healthy age, especially young people that are going to school. If you leave that, and they're guessing like roughly that 60 or so percentage of the population that are like really healthy or won't be so vulnerable to this coronavirus, if you leave them doing what they do and they get inflicted by this disease, well, once you've been inflicted of it and you recover from it, well, it's no longer a threat to you. And if you get enough people doing that, then you do get something, I guess, what they you call herd immunity, because then if it ever comes back, well, you've already have a substantial portion of your population that has that immunity to the virus, right? So they're less susceptible. So that kind of makes sense to me in some way. It's quite an experiment. It could really backfire. But like I say, I'm glad there are multiple experiments that are taking place, because who knows, it could prove to be way more effective than some of the panic mode that other countries have resorted to, and some of the authoritarian measures that they've resorted to as well. So who knows? Like I say, I am definitely not a doctor, and I don't know. I can't give my advice on stuff like that. What else do we got here? Yeah, Italy, man. Jeez, they got it hard. You got it bad, right? Yeah, even I guess Air Canada, the union, saying that flight crews should be self-isolating, but the airlines disagreeing. Well, pretty sure you'll end up, even if that's the thing with these corporations. You want these people to come in, but if they don't want to, if they're scared to death of it, well, they'll just come up with the excuse. Yeah, I'm sick. I got the flu, or My dog ate my homework, or I lost my keys. Whatever. There's lots of reasons that people will come up with an excuse to not go to work. So who knows? Like I say, the economic implication is going to be quite profound. So apparently, there's another 3 new cases of COVID-19 in Ottawa as well. And yeah, like with this worker protection. So, okay, let me get to the economic, another part of it here. So, Ottawa announces 10 billion business. Okay, so let me share that as well. Share. So, this is just one of the ways that they're trying to deal with this situation. Ottawa announces $10 billion business credit line, plans to roll out stimulus package as COVID-19 spreads. France Finance Minister Bill Morneau announced Friday that the government will establish a $10 billion credit facility to lend money to businesses under stress as a result of the spreading. Like, that's just going to put, like, how many of these businesses are already massively in debt and almost underwater, and solvency rates, right? And insolvency rates have been ramped up, increasing, and they're already having a hard time, with their economic or the financial bottom line as it is. I mean, offering, like, that's the thing. If you're already indebted up to your eyeballs, like, just take a personal household example. Never mind these businesses or corporations. If you're already indebted up your eyeball, what does it help to offer more loans to put you in more debt, right? It actually puts you in a potentially even more precarious situation. So a lot of these measures are going to backfire as well. Like I say, they've run out of the tool belt. They're still trying to use stimulus, but people have become so, like, the drug's been in the arm. Think about it. Since the financial crash, since 2008, all the people that get access to these stimulus programs, like down in the US, quantitative what, QE1, QE2, QE3, and now they're in QE4. Canada, the bank bailouts, and the hundreds of billions of dollars were spent to stimulate the economy, the government debts and deficits to ramp up government spending. So fiscal policy, right? Monetary policy, all of the things, the reduction to the interest rates, basically down to rock bottom. Think about it. They've used all these tools, and they were using them all along, ever since the crash of 2008. So basically, everyone's already got the drug in their arm, right? They're all like, oh, they're already, but think about it. That high is wearing off. And they're not, I mean, that was a massive amount of stimulus, right? That was a direct result of the financial crisis. What they're offering right now is basically like, you wouldn't even notice. It'd be an imperceptible difference because people are so used to the stimulus, to the drug already, that's like, well, this is nothing. This ain't even going to get me high. Yeah, it might put off me actually completely sobering up for a little bit, but you're not getting me any higher. That's for sure. This ain't doing shit. So this stimulus, like I say, they can throw all the money they want. They can print all the money they want. They can devalue the currency and destroy the purchasing power of a dollar as they are. Look at it. Our Canadian dollar is down to just over 71 cents now. So yeah, they can keep destroying the purchasing power of our dollar as much as they want. But if these businesses or people in their personal finances are already massively indebted, and like I say, half the population of the country is basically to the point of $200 away from going bankrupt themselves. So how much more of this stimulus do they think is going to, it's just to send a message or a signal. Now, like I say, some people are going to benefit from it. The market, it might stave off some of that, but from what I'm seeing, even market participants aren't even falling for the bullshit now, because the market participants are like probably thinking about things in the same way that I am. Like, this just is not going to work. And think about it. Everyone's running or rushing towards bonds, government bonds, because they're supposed to be the safe bet, because governments can plunder the economic resources for future generations or print money to pay off the people with the bonds, right? But once again, once you get to the point where it's like over in Europe, where the bonds, because that's the bond valuations are now getting to the point where you're soon going to get to negative territory. So you're not even going to get an actual positive yield on what should have been, what historically was always been a safe bet, government bonds. Yet you're actually losing money hand over fist already at the ridiculous rates. But if it goes into negative territory, well, you have to pay to buy a bond. Who's going to be foolish enough to pay? I mean, some of those big industrial investors, but not the typical mom and pop or the average person. That's for sure. Most people aren't foolish enough to do that stuff, right? All right, let me pull the get back to the full screen here. But yeah, I didn't finish reading it actually. But yeah, Morneau said the money will flow to the Business Development Bank of Canada and Export Development Canada, both crown-owned entities, right? Government entities. So hand it from one part of the government to another part of the government to help companies access cash and keep exporting to markets abroad at a time when COVID-19 is dramatically affecting the functioning of the economy. Morneau said that this sort of credit facility was an effective tool during it was a effective tool during the financial crisis. Oh, and he says, and will be again. Now, yeah, we'll see, right? We'll see about that. Most of the money will be directed to small and medium-sized enterprises, Morneau said. So, well, those small and medium enterprises, like I say, a lot of them are the ones that are in the most precarious situations financially, right? Because they don't have the moniker as the big corporations, right? And yeah, the Bank of Canada lending right now is down to 0.75, so 3/4 of a percentage point. Like I say, they don't have much as far as tools left in their arsenal anymore. So how is this going to pan out? Well, stay tuned. We'll find out. Okay, we got some more comments here. Okay. Anyone can make a deadlier bacterial weapon than Corona in their kitchen. Viral weapons are not practical because they kill your enemy and use. Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, okay, so it wasn't Procter & Gamble. Who owns Perel? I saw the stock this morning. Yeah, it's not Procter & Gamble. Who is it that owns? Oh, you mean because of the 8 billion with their war on? Oh yeah. Yeah, the Gillette scandal. But yeah, whoever owns Perel, I saw this morning that their stocks, out of all the stocks that are taking a huge hit, that was the only one that was in positive territory for the retail, I believe is what it was, in the retail section of the market. There are a few retail ones that are actually still doing decent, right? Think about it. Corona Shan has reached AIDS infested South Africa. This is going to be biblical. They're throttling your channel. I didn't even know you were live streaming. Although subscribed and all notifications on, it shows you have no new videos or live streams active. Really? Because yeah, I mean, some people like that don't get the notification. They just don't have that bell. But you seem like you understand the whole concept there, that you got to have the bell, not just rung, but rung and where it says show all notifications. But yeah, apparently if you've done all that, no videos or lives, I very well could be. It's possible, I guess, that they could be doing that. Not much I can do about it, unfortunately, right? A virus is created in those labs. Who knows? Holy fuck, you came up in my feed. Halifax, Matt. Well, see, this person's saying, I don't know. Was it actually recommended? Hey, Halifax, Matt, actually, that would, if you could help me out here a little bit, just answer down below. Did you actually see it? Like, were you just on YouTube and you seen it in the recommended section? Because that's one thing I can see on my analytics. There is a small, like a couple percentage rate of me being recommended, but it's so tiny, like single digit recommendation. So very, very, very few people get notifications or sorry, get to see my video just because it's in the recommended section beside it. Like, if you're watching a video that's along the same lines and they say recommended for you, I never get recommended, so I'm not reaching a lot of new people or subscribers or viewers. But yeah, answer me down there. Like when you say it came up in your feed, what does that mean? You were just scrolling through YouTube and you just seen it because you're going through your subscriptions, or kind of help elaborate a little bit on that. Okay. Herd immunity is just a theory, and not saying just a theory like evolution. Not that I'm saying evolution. It's just more not really super studied. Yeah. I don't know. Like I say, when it comes to stuff that I don't know much about, I'll offer the most minor opinion, but leave it with the caveat or the disclaimer is I don't know. And this is when it comes to this kind of stuff, don't know. Don't know. The things I do know, I very well know. I'm very astute in making sure that I'm knowledgeable on particular topics. But if I don't know about it, I'm not going to pretend that I do. Agenda 21, rolling out socialism. Well, I mean, this would, this does have the potential to cause a lot of people to seek government help. But if they see government failing them at every junction or at every level, maybe they'll realize that now they'll manage any. Think about it. If you get through this without big government's help, well, it tells you that you can get through a lot without big government's help. So it could go either way. Yeah, they've been changing default search on YouTube a lot, and it's code easy to change and keep. Yeah, well, their algorithms and what they promote, and like I say, that's definitely just a reality that they're definitely not promoting certain particular channels or people with particular views. I don't doubt that for 1 minute, but like I say, that's another one of those things that I can't know about unless you had an insider, another whistleblower, right? There's been a few that have kind of revealed some things. Project Veritas, right? James O'Keefe. We've learned some things from some people that work within these facilities and some things that are being done by some of those people. But is it actual policy? Like I say, we would need like an Edward Snowden type or someone that's actually got some documentation and some proof to show, this stuff happening. If we get proof of it, then yeah, then these social media platforms are in a lot of trouble, because as it is right now, the reason why they get to do what they're doing is because they claim that, was it Section 230 in the United States, where they're just a platform, so they can't be held accountable for anything. So, but if they're caught manipulating things, right, and being more editorial in what's allowed to be put on or seen on their platform, then they can get into a lot of trouble, and then government will be seeking to regulate them some way, which is not what we want for sure. So, but like I say, we have to rely on someone blowing the whistle and giving us some proof of this stuff. South Africa will be interesting. Climate change was going to kill us. Yeah. But now a virus might kill off people kind as we know it. Yeah, people kind. I thought sugar was going to kill us. Oh, everything is going to kill us, right? Makes sense. Halifax, Matt. Coca-Cola. Yeah, that too. Coca-Cola, Pepsi. Once they shut down hockey, the sign the end is upon us. Martial law is coming. That could very well happen, depending on how bad this outbreak gets, right? Notice how Bill is milking this to promote his career. I'm sure he's aiming to be the next prime. Who's that, Bill Blair? That fucking guy. Can't stand that guy. Martial law, a bunch of hipsters forcing everyone to listen to. Cardlin, what's going on? Soon, some states or even the whole U.S. will become Italy. It's possible. Haha, if only that was... Okay, priorities. Toilet paper, hockey players, migrants, and lawmans. And the bus is the rest of us, yeah. If only we had the ability to delete the coronavirus. Okay, where'd that go? Where did that go? If that's what martial law was, when I think we had martial law in the 90s. Are they going to keep Roxham 24-hour overpopulation service going? Yeah, I know, right? That's what I'm waiting to hear. I mean, come on. When you're talking about the borders, not just the official border crossings. Yes, we need the official border crossings and screening areas and airports and all this shit. Yeah, you need to heighten the fucking shit there. But more than that, even, holy fuck, at least we know like people that are coming through the borders officially, or people on airplanes. Like there's lists of people like that who are on the flights and stuff. But the people that are pouring across the fucking borders illegally, we have no fucking idea who the hell these people are. And the only thing, and once they're there and already set their foot in this country and they're spreading that shit around to like the CBSA officers, as one has already gotten one, right? Or what, and then and the RCMP. I mean, man, that can get spread so quickly. And like I say, that's where you first of all, not only should you have screening, but you shouldn't even allow these fucking people across the border. Someone should have closed that fucking loophole in the third safe third country agreement between the US and Canada. It was a simple thing. It's just tweaking of the legislation that makes the entire border of Canada, a port of entry. Then none of these people, then the CBSA or the RCMP don't have to be luggage carriers, baggage handlers, right? No, then they can actually fucking say, nope, you can't cross this border. See that sign there where it says it's illegal? No, you can't come across this border. You stay the fuck there. Don't even think about it. That's what should be happening. But no, like I say, bellhops is what we got running the border down there. So that could be that's a big potential threat right there. The fact that shit is happening with no oversight whatsoever, no screening, I would imagine. I mean, Christ, they barely built up a facility just to use for documentation and administrating the paperwork down there. You know damn well if they don't have these kind of screening services in place and the airports in place, they definitely don't have them down there, Roxham Road. So yeah, who knows? Incompetence. And if people die as a result of this, then, well, that's the thing. Yeah, sue the government. I mean, that to me is like, well, I guess you can sue the government, but all you're really doing is causing economic pain to everyone else. But I get that's what you have to do. Like, that's how insane it is, right? You don't get to take any of Justin Trudeau's trust fund money. If you sue the fucking government, like if Trudeau was proven to be completely incompetent and failed the Canadian people and was directly responsible for a lot of this stuff because of his incompetence, even if there was a class action lawsuit against the government is not, Trudeau would be like, well, it's just like corporations. Hey, I still got mine. Didn't cost me a fucking thing. It'll cost all the fellow Canadians because it's the taxpayers or the unborn that's going to pay whatever that settlement would be. Any government fucking lawsuit against the government, or like, First Nation communities when they're getting payouts because of how the government treated them in the past, right? Or even like the Omar Khadr payout, or anytime the government paying out for any kind of lawsuit, it's all of us that pays for it. Government don't fucking have anything. They're parasites. They don't suffer any consequences, even though they're the ones that do this shit. It's you and I. Once again, we're the one that's always got to pay for all this fucking nonsense. Whether it's with our lives, whether it's with our liberties, or whether it's with our dollars, or our labor, our lives, liberties, or labors. That's how you pay. Government's going to make you pay one way or the other, or all of the above. What's going on, Brad Garth? Are they? Oh, that was you asking. Are they going to keep Roxham? Yeah, like I say, they better not. That should be that would be a fucking no-brainer to me. Yeah, get some people down there, closing off that border, right? Close it off entirely. Fuck, put a fence, at least something to deter them. A little deterrent would be nice. Something, anything. If the economic bubble pops under Trump, then the Dems will take the House, Senate, and White House. Big government on steroids for the next 2 decades. Well, actually, no, because if that happens, I mean, sounds like that could be potential. But if that does happen, well, you got half the population of the deplorables that aren't going to be real happy about the situation. So that could very well be when the potential for civil war does break out. But are Americans really stupid or naive enough to give the Democrats all that power back? I don't know. Some of them are the plurality or the bulk of them. Well, I guess we'll find out, right? I don't make predictions, folks. I don't make predictions. It's going to be what it's going to be. Creditors stopped calling me, so I'll take that as a good sign. Yeah, right on. Yeah, well, yeah, you might get bailed out, right? Lots of people are getting bailed out because the government doesn't understand what the hell dollars are. That's the thing. Everyone lives in the world of monopoly money. I'll be so fucking glad when it's all said and done anyways, because like I say, person with the proper incentives are completely harmed every day because of this nonsense. Roxham Road will be open for business 365, 247. Caucasians need not apply. A great social experiment and wealth transfer all at the same time. Conditioned as for NWO, this will destroy the last of the middle class wealth and embolden us to govern. That could very well happen too. Like I say, anything is possible under these scenarios, right? A lot of opportunistic people are going to try to take advantage of this current situation. Make no mistake about that. That's why I say the onus is on every single one of us, man. You got to be personally responsible and think about these things. Take care of yourself first and foremost and those you love. you know, and your community. Like I say, the people that matter, definitely do what you got to do there. And the rest of it, it's outside of your control for the most part, right? Try and do what you want, do as you may, or do whatever you can, but Wuhan flew to fuck you. Wuhan flew to fuck you, Randy Dorn. Just saw it. Oh, just saw it? Just saw it. Not quite sure what that means, though. Just saw it. Like I say, must have been just in your. Were you scrolling through your subscriptions? Yeah, hit like, folks. Yeah, hit the like button. Yeah, actually, you know what? Let me kind of reiterate on that with the like. It's like when people watch the videos, like, come on. I could never understand, like, man, I'm subscribed to a lot of people, and every time I watch a video, I like it. It's just instant, it's just automatic response. Hit the like button. Or on Facebook, hit the like button. Or on Twitter, hit that heart, right? I mean, it takes like a second or two, and I can't believe that it's always such a small percentage of people. Although for my channel, it's much better than a lot of people. I will say, because a lot of you folks are great out there. But even then, the ones that don't, is like, really though, you can't do that. Can't you just hit the like? Like, is it really that fucking difficult? Holy fuck! And if it is, Jesus, you're gonna have a rough time in life if just hitting the like button is too much to ask, right? Hopefully you don't get treated in the same way where people can't put even that little bit of effort, you know. I want to pop up on there. What's that mean? You want to be on the stream? Is that what you're saying? Pop up on there. I have no idea what you're talking about there, Cardlin. Yeah, just locked upon the live stream. No notification. Well, how did you find it then? Terry M always gets notifications. That's good to know, Terry. Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, I don't know. Some people could be even just fucking full of shit. I don't know. I know if I got notifications turned on and I got the bell, I get my notifications too. But like I say, I don't know. I only know about my own personal situation. I can't pretend to know what other people like. This is the thing, which is why I hold myself to such a high standard of truth and honesty, because trust, once you've destroyed trust with a person, yeah, that's why it's so important for me to do the right thing, even when people don't like it, or people get pissed off at me, or I lose subscribers or viewers. I'm still going to maintain and stick to being honest and forthright, because I think in the long term, folks. I think long term, not just the short term. What's going on? Burned Out Rage. Cheers, my friend. If you look into Lonnie Lundgren's YouTube videos on the RCMP, you realize who they are. Murderers. Oh, I've covered, if you go to my, well, you're on my YouTube channel, but just type in RCMP, right? Or law enforcement, and you'll see I've done videos in the past. And there's one that I was covering that was an incident. I think it was out of Nova Scotia. Fucking eerie the way these cops were talking about their political masters, like wholly indoctrinated. Cop that went to this person's house, and the cop was off duty in plain clothes, and the guy at the house, I think the guy insulted a politician or something online, and this officer had gone to, like I say, I'd have to go back and read the whole thing again, and I don't remember entirely, but like I say, the officer went off duty to this man's house, and however that whole transaction played out, that the man that owned that house on his own property ended up fucking being shot and died that day. And why the officer went there, well, like I say, if you read the letter that the officer wrote to try to explain or justify his actions, holy fuck. Fucking scary, man. Like I say, mindless order followers are the scariest people you'll ever meet, which is why I hold a lot of reserve. Like I reserve a lot of I don't have a whole lot of trust for these people. Some of them are good people. This is the problem. But when you work for a corrupt criminal organization, this is a problem that people work for government. You've already shown that you're an untrustworthy person by sheer fact that you're working for that very corrupt organization, which means you, the responsibility, the onus is on you to step above and beyond to prove that you are trustworthy, right? I mean, think about it. If you were part of the mafia, Of course, people are not going to have a lot of trust with you or trust you a lot. You would have to step outside your comfort zone to try to prove to people you were actually trustworthy because you are working for a very corrupt criminal organization. Same goes true for government. If you work for government, I am already automatically suspicious of you. So, yeah, the onus is on you. Don't get pissed off at me, the fact that you work for a corrupt organization. The onus is on you to prove that you're trustworthy. Sorry, that's just the way it is. What's Terry saying here? Get shot. Okay, what is this? Busload of illegals came in on Friday night. Yeah, no doubt. And Miss J 420. Should we be stocking up on cigarettes? I quit smoking, 10, 11 years ago? That'd be the last thing I'd be stocking up on. Matter of fact, I'd take advantage and quit yourself. Right? Especially like coronavirus affects your lungs and stuff, man. You know, it's being a smoker, probably not the right. Be sure to have YouTube notifications on. Thanks, Terry. Yep. I was in internet purgatory for a while, so that might have something to do with it. Oh, okay. Halifax, the CBC banned me because I called Trudeau a traitor. Yeah, I could see that. I don't even comment on the CBC's website. I still have an account for sure because I made one. I used to comment all the time, but yeah, I'd get that content disabled. And you know me, come on, I'm very wise and I knew where I was commenting. So I was proper to articulate. Of course, I was saying things they don't want to hear, but I didn't swear. I didn't insult anyone. I was wise enough to do it in a manner that, it was constructive criticism properly, but they would still delete my comments. Disable, I guess, is how they would come up with that red whatever. So after that, once I realized that you got these fucking authoritarian moderators in there that'll just delete everything. I'm not wasting. That's the thing. I'm not wasting my fucking time if people are just going to, turn around and delete my comments because I'm not getting anything done if I'm just going to have my comments deleted. That's why I've been slowing down on social media and YouTube stuff. Because if I'm being fucked with, what's the point, right? If nobody's hearing me, right? Although I guess, right now, at least there's 26 people that are hearing me, or at least that's what the numbers suggest. Should we be stuck? No, definitely not. But of course, that's your choice, right? If you want to stock up on cigarettes, stock the fuck up on cigarettes. Hey, put 4 or 5 in your mouth at once, man. Smoke away. It's not my life. Do your thing, right? I don't care. And especially the price of cigarettes. Holy fuck, what are cigarettes? I think $15-$16 for like the real packs. Like nobody smokes anymore, like Players, Demorier, Export A, like the big name brand cigarettes. Nobody smokes them anymore. Every time I see someone that smokes, and I work around a lot of people that smoke in the construction industry, is every time I see them, they're all smoking these lower brand cigarettes. Why? Because they can't afford to buy, the cigarettes. And think about it. Most of the price of cigarettes, all taxes, provincial tax, local tax, federal tax. The price of cigarettes it's fuck all. It doesn't cost shit to produce a pack of fucking cigarettes in 2020, but but hey, keep buying them up, right? Jeez. Lower quality, more lung cancer. Yeah. Costs more. You're spending a whole lot of money there, but hey, like I say, it's to each their own. I don't tell people what to do in their own personal lives. I can offer my opinion. I'm an opinionated guy, but I would never suggest or tell anyone what to do in their own personal life. Do it. You're only hurting yourself. Disturbing info. I looked up Project Pogo and Project YZPHR. Don't know how much about it. Have truthers talking online. Quite disturbing. Don't know. I wonder about these curfews. A guy I knew had a brother who guy shot because he ran from a soldier when he was caught after curfew during the Irish occupation. Yeah, well, yeah. Well, I mean, you get things on lockdown and all those order followers, all those mindless order followers out there carrying out their orders and their edicts. Oh, there's always a potential there for sure. No doubt about it. Like I say, that's where the biggest threat's going to come from. Not your local thief, not your neighbor, but the order followers. I get notifications on one device, but not my main computer or phone. Yeah, maybe you have to go back in and click on the bell icon. That might be the case. It's real easy to check. You just go, like I say, to the channel where it says subscribe, where that bell icon is there. Just click on that bell and it'll drop down that little box and it'll say either you're getting all notifications or some notifications. And I think you can even custom tailor the notifications. But if you click the all, then you're saved that way. Or here's another thing. It's like you don't even have to have any notifications turned on. Like I have notifications turned on, but I am subscribed to so many people, I can't watch everybody's videos every day. So what I do is there's certain people that I like to watch and I keep them in the old memory bank. And then all I have to do is just go to their channel, right? Just go to their channel, type it in, whatever the name of their channel is, type it in, go to their channel, and I can see what videos are there. So I don't have to rely on notifications at all. Or just go to your subscription feed, and then you'll see all the videos that have been uploaded based. But then you might have, if you have a lot of subscribers, you might have to scroll through a lot to find like the one that you're looking for. So like I say, the simplest thing ever to avoid all of the confusion or the notification and whether you click on the bell icon or you didn't, or is just go directly to the channel. Just go to the YouTube search bar, type in the channel name, go to it. That's the easiest thing ever. Really simple. And like I say, you avoid any of the bullshit with algorithms or get notifications entirely. I should be stocking up on my Flintstone vitamins. Yeah. Definitely want to stay in shape. I would recommend that regardless, but people that are in better physical condition, health-wise, eating good food, right? Not just fast food 24 hours a day or like every day. Like if you keep yourself in half decent shape, that's going to help you not just for your physical health, but your mental health too. Like being healthy is very, very important, folks. I would definitely agree with that. Going to look into that. Okay, what all from have you ever seen lawsuits against the RCMP? What was that about? They had lawsuits against the RCMP for sexual discrimination or sexual, not just discrimination, but there was lawsuits against the RCMP for sexual harassment. That's it, sexual harassment. I know because apparently a lot of the ladies that work for the police are sexually harassed by their peers, or maybe some of the gay men. I don't know, harass each other. I don't know. Like I say, not a cop. Fuck, don't pay a whole lot of attention to what the hell's going on the insides there. That's for sure. But yeah, the RCMPs have been sued. But like I say, any payout, the bad people that whatever did wrong, they're not going to be the ones that pay it out. Like I say, you and I, the taxpayer or the unborn at this point in time, that's who's going to pay out. So, oh, Gina Rowland, I see you rolling. I have been asking about all the fuckers coming in from Roxanne Rome. Yeah. Did you see the video by Keen there? I wonder if I put that up, they might. No, actually, they might not if you do it for a short time frame, right? Maybe I should show that real quick. Just a minute's worth or so, let's say. I don't know. Whatever. Even if they do take away the monetization of the video, whatever. Not like I'm making squat. Let me just go and see if I can find that video today. Because I did find it after I got off the stream yesterday. Actually, it was much easier finding it on my Minds channel. By the way, I'm not just on Facebook and Twitter. I'm also on Minds, Gab, ThinkSpot. ThinkSpot's a great site, although they do got to iron out some of their bugs for sure, because they definitely got some bugs. It's in beta mode. And actually, I haven't done it yet, but I'm thinking about going on that Locals, that Dave Rubin website. It looks like another potentially good one too. So it's called locals.com. Okay, where is that? Where is it? Where is it? There we go. We got it. Okay, I found it. I thought I lobster, but then I flounder. Anyways, yeah, so here, let me.
Are you tired of the media?
Whoa, that's loud. Whoa, that's loud. Slow her down. Lower it. Okay, here we go. Okay. So let me turn the volume up at least a little bit. Let me put it on the old sharing of the screen. Oh, got to take this off the screen. So share screen. Tab. Here we go. Share. See if everyone can see it. Make sure it's showing up there. Yep. Yep. So as you can see, this is a Rebel News. Their reporter Kean. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. But let me just play a little bit of it here.
I'm on Roxham Road right now, and I'm uploading this. I'm going live because I don't know if the RCMP are going to confiscate my phone. I'm here at Roxham Road documenting what's going on as the RCMP allow illegal immigrants to flow into this country while there's a pandemic happening. I've watched it happen. They don't screen them for anything. There's no biological screens at all. There's no medical screen at all. And as I left the facility on Roxham Road, 2 vehicles came up from behind me and pulled me over. They took my ID and my vehicle registration. It's a rental. Sorry. They took my ID and they asked me what I was doing here. They asked me why I was here from Alberta. They were more concerned about me being from Alberta than they are about the illegal immigrants who I just watched cross the New York-Quebec border. They were from the Congo. They were from all over the place. One of them was from Somalia, it looked like. Absolutely no screening at all. And I'm coming here as a reporter to figure out what's going on here. And as I leave, I think it's the Quebec Provincial Police that have pulled me over here. There was 3 cruisers here at one point. Now there's 2. There was 6 officers in total, and they still have my ID. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to stay live as I'm here. They turned off the lights. That was nice of them.
Anyways, as you can see, yeah, they were more concerned with the guy trying to report on things. And as he's saying, no screening down there, pouring across the border like usual. And the cops were, and I watched that to the end, and they gave the guy a ticket for parking, a parking fucking ticket. And he's trying to get down there to fucking report on this stuff. And the police are harassing him and giving him a fucking ticket. Well, when they're not busy being the bellhops for illegal immigrants. That's the fucking country we live in today, folks. That is the country we live in today. That's what your leaders and their order followers are all about. And you wonder why I don't have a lot of respect for them? Well, you shouldn't. But yeah, that's what's happening, Gina. That's just every day. That's just one day. One day. That happens every fucking day. It hasn't stopped. It hasn't slowed down. Tens of thousands per year. The media doesn't even report on it anymore. They don't give a shit, like I say, because all these government fucks that are making money hand over fist and giving lots of their buddies work to be part of the bureaucracy to cover all this shit, the pencil pushers. Like I say, lots of people are making out like bandits. Corporations are making out like bandits, get some cheap wage slaves and laborers, right? Lots of people, banks, houses, banksters are making out by getting the ones that do have money, getting them into housing, right? I mean, lots and lots of fucking corrupt people in this country are making out like bandits at you and I expense. And like most Canadians are just unwilling to fucking say anything, do anything. I don't know. What the hell, man? I don't know what the hell. I don't know. And at the same time, I don't want Canadians to go overreact to the point where, you have a complete breakdown in the economy or society where we have, fucking martial law or, people fucking starving. That's the thing. It has to be a measured approach. You can't go full retard against this, but like, that's why when I talk about these things, there's so many little minor things. And I've in the 1,000+ videos I've uploaded over the years, I've offered lots of minor suggestions. All you got to do is tweak little behavior, your habits and behaviors, how you deal with economics, your understanding of economics, what you should do in terms of supporting people in your community or businesses. I've offered lots and lots of advice over the years, but right? I don't know. You can lead a horse to water. Can't make them drink. All from the U.S., who are originally from the Congo. It's cost billions from the taxpayer. Oh, yeah. Oh, listen. And actually, it's not even the taxpayer, because like I was saying before, if that was the case, our taxes would be even, your tax rate would have to be 100% to pay for all this stuff. And you'd still not be enough to pay for it. So actually, we can't even use the excuse of the taxpayer much anymore, not with the already incurred debt and the deficits, right? Those debts and deficits are far in excess of what you could ever get from the taxpayer that's alive today. So no, it's pure Keynesianism. John Maynard Keynes. Like I say, learn. Here. One thing all of you can do. Every single one of you that's watching this, just watch. If you just want to watch a video rather than read a book or watch a documentary or read through literature, or anything like that, just John Maynard Keynes. John, John Maynard. I think it's Maynard. And Keynes is Keynes. John Maynard Keynes. He was the British economist at the time, and this was what was it, after World War I or II? I think it was World War I or II. Anyways, basically where he told governments that just print money in emergency times, right? Because prior to that, like I say, and when you had a gold standard, governments could not just print their way out of problems, right? Which is why you had actual sound, stable currencies, because governments couldn't do it. And gold and silver were those sound, stable currencies, real money. But since John Maynard Keynes basically said, well, listen, in rough times when businesses or people aren't spending, or governments, just print this fucking money, use the central bank, and then just kind of flood that into the economy. That'll stimulate the economy. But that's like you or I. That's the pretense of, that's a stopgap measure to get you over a short time frame, but it's not really thinking about the long term. That's like you or I. Like I say, if you're already indebted up your eyeballs and some banking institution sent you another credit card, well, sure, you can extend the good times until that credit card's run up to the hilt. But what do you do then? But you know what, John Maynard Keynes, when someone called him out on it, and I got to try to remember to figure out who exactly to quote that called him out on that, because it was another one of the economists of the day, probably an Austrian economist or a classical economist, who basically called him out for his bullshit and his Keynesian stimulus, because that's Keynes, the one that invented stimulus. Government printing on the money by central banks and government like trying to stimulate the economy. And what his response was when he was called out for it was, well, in the end, we're all dead. And I can't remember. If I remember correctly, I don't think John Maynard Keynes had children, right? So to him, it's like, well, in the end, we're all dead. Yeah, sure, this might be a problem down the road, but hey, I'm not going to have to fucking worry about it. That's basically what his attitude was, right? Or a lot of the people at the time is like, hey, we're not going to have to worry about it. Don't worry about it. So that's someone else's fucking problem. That's what QE1, QE2, QE3, QE4, that's what all this stimulus is nobody has to pay the piper. Kick that fucking can down the road. Don't worry, it'll only be our kids or grandkids. Surely somebody will figure something out, right? We hope they'll pay it off, because that's what bonds, right? The bond market would be blown up entirely if people really knew. If people knew, no, the unborn aren't going to pay these debts, then the bond market would completely blow up right now. Wouldn't be worth the fucking paper these fucking bonds are issued on, right? But because people believe that government's going to be able to economically enslave the future productivity and prosperity of the unborn, well, they believe that they have that kind of trust and that faith in their institutions that they can just keep doing this, right? I don't believe it's going to last that long. I believe that the piper is going to have to be paid at some point in time. But like I say, it's that Keynesian economics. And even I think it might have been even Milton Friedman after that. Milton Friedman is by no stretch a Keynesian, but even he had to admit, once the government started down that road, using central banks to stimulate the economy and print money, once you put the drug in the arm and you're hooked on it, well, I think, like I said, I think it might have been Milton Friedman himself that said, well, we're all Keynesians now, right? Once you go down that road and everyone else, that's the thing. If all the other central banks are doing it and you're not doing it, well, you're fucked, because all the other central banks are. That's once you start down that road. That's that danger. That's that slippery slope. And you know what? People avoided listening to the important people at the time. They were saying, don't do this. Don't start this. Don't make this a precedent going forward. But they did it anyways, because they wanted the quick fix. And that's the world we live in today. Nobody has any idea how this is going to shake out or unfold. But there's definitely a lot of potential for a lot of people. And like I say, the people that are going to have the most crap imposed on them are ones that aren't even alive today and have had nothing to do with any of this shit and never benefited from any of it either. So Yeah. Don't get me going on Keynesian economics, man. It's been a complete destruction of proper incentives. That's where the too big to fail come from. To me, there should no such thing as too big to fail. It's the ones that are too big to fail that you really, really need to fucking fail, right? But people are scared. They think, oh, if the too big to fail fails, that no one else will pick up the slack in the economy. No. Actually, if the too big to failed, that would give people like myself the ability to step up and do proper corrections in the market economy, because I'd be willing to participate. If I didn't know that I'm functioning in a complete Ponzi scheme, like, that's why I won't participate much. I'll provide enough for myself and my wife, if possible, to make sure we're okay. But I'm not going to be a full-on participant in the economy anymore, because it's a fucking rigged game. Why would I? But if the too big to failed, and you had an actual reset or correction in the economy, like I say, a lot of people like myself, innovators, creators, entrepreneurs, a lot of people would be step up the plate, and you would have new services provided, actually a better price, much more readily available, like with more genuine free market fundamentals included in it. But people are scared to death because they think, because they're thought leaders in the media and the political and ruling class, when they tell them, oh, we can't let these institutions fail because, ooh, the sky will fall. Bull fucking shit. If you let them fail, it'll actually, like I say, you rip the Band-Aid off, but that pain only lasts for a very short time. And then you got the air going to the open wound, and you're like, yeah, it's going to heal much, much faster, right? Listen, I know, kind of not the greatest analogy, but I'm telling you, yeah, the too big to fail is the biggest bullshit narrative I've ever heard in my life, or at least one of them. Oh, yeah, by the way, alcohol doesn't do shit against viruses. Yeah, it's just a placebo. You need or dilute bleach in water. Whoa, that will work. Trust a biochemist on this. Well, if you want to give advice like that, Gato, you go ahead. But like I said, I wouldn't want to be giving out any medical advice. Well, of course, you're anonymous, I guess. So, yeah. And I mean anonymous as in nobody knows like where you are, who you are, kind of deal. But yeah. Alcohol, yeah, I don't think that it might make you enjoy yourself, right? Woohoo! You might be able to go woohoo before you croak, but chlorhexidine or dilute bleach in water. Hey, like I said, I personally have no idea on that stuff. The TV and radio don't give a shit. The TV in Quebec, the TV and radio don't give a shit. They're not talking about it, you mean, or they just don't. To them, it's like, I don't know. Well, look it over in France. They actually went to the polls and voted, right? So, thanks, Halifax. Yeah, I just don't know much about it. Just that truthers are a target. I found a new site called Truthflix. Truthflix. Much of it's right. Much of it is right. Much of it's right on Google. Page after page of lawsuits and payouts, workplace sexual assaults, wrongful conviction charge. Oh, yeah. Well, I know. Oh, for sure. Like I say, for sure. Lots of RCMPs were picking up minors and trying to have sex with them. Yeah, I heard about that stuff too, actually. I think wasn't it like some First Nations communities that was happening or something? I can't remember exactly. But yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Corruption. Using the Kalergi plan to create mud race. There's a lot of stuff out there. Burnout. I already went through stuff. Brenda Webster. Hey, Brenda Webster. Welcome to the stream. Oh, sometimes we are too focused on the conversation. We forget the like button. Yeah, I hear you, Gato. I hear you. Citizen Buck. Yep. Hit the like button always. Thank you, Citizen Buck. Appreciate that. There should be more than 7 likes. Come on, folks. Let's get that. Is that all there is? 7? Jeez. Did you see the video from the guy from Alberta? He got arrested for part. Yeah. Oh, actually, I was showing that video. So I must have been showing that video prior to seeing this, I guess. Or after this, I guess. Yes, I did. Harrison P. arrest him for illegal park. I know, it's so fucking ridiculous, right? Of course it is. Freedom Prospector. Have asked for a pension for sickness, and they say not sick enough. The clown's been in quarantine for days, and he still can't find a decent pair of socks. You could make me drink. I have 4 Kokanee. They come and go when you have to know what goes through the fucking road. Pitchforks, my friend. It sure is a corporation. No, Terry, I think he's an asshole. I just sent you the video. Lots of folks buy illegal cigs off the reserve. CBC sucks. Hey, right on. I like this one. And blows government tax fund indoctrination. Fake news. BBC, same crap. Yep. Stock toilet paper. People shitting their lives. Went to the bullion store and passed a guy coming out with 3 monster boxes of maples. Maple sold out. Platinum sold out. Bought a little gold and some generic silver rounds. Rush on metals. Yeah. That could, no doubt. They're safe havens, right? You'll be able to sell them in singles. Huge reset coming, including a global tax bailout. Time to max out credit cards if they aren't already. Well, credit cards are actually one of those things that, yeah, you can get out from under that debt. Bye, everyone. Oh, sorry I didn't see you in the chat already, Neil Legacy. Sorry about that. Nice to see that you were in the chat for a while, though. Thanks for joining the stream for a little while. They know me well, but picked out a line to see. I urge folks to read about James Roscoe and how he managed to kill those RCMP officers. It went deeper than what's being told in the media. It's scary just bringing it up. Was my friend. She was murdered by the RCMP. And what about, there was that other story too. It was up in Miramichi, New Brunswick. A gentleman that some fucking idiot had called, and I've had people do this shit to me too, right? Try to accuse me of fucking selling drugs. I've had people do that. I swear to God, when I was a truck driver, I had someone call up the police and try to accuse me of using the truck and trailer of being like basically a drug smuggler with like a tractor trailer, which was absolute bullshit. Now, fortunately, the outfit I drove for was big enough that they have the Qualcomm satellites. So Mildred, the wife of the owner operator of the business that I worked, his wife, she's like, don't worry. And we explained to the cops that that's absolute bullshit. That there's no way, because it shows that his truck sat, because they were saying it at a particular time. They said his truck was sitting in his driveway all weekend long. So no, that's an impossible scenario. But if it wasn't for that, who fucking knows, right? Who fucking knows? They might have believed that shit and accused me of smuggling fucking drugs or being a drug dealer and done something like they did. Because this happened, like I say, this gentleman up in Miramichi, he was getting off, I think it was via bus up there. He got off at the station up in Miramichi, and the cops were waiting there for him because somebody had used that fucking tip line, that fucking rat line, that fucking 222 tips or whatever the hell, that fucking piece of shit for all the fucking rats in this country. Like, who fucking cares even if someone was selling fucking drugs? If it's a voluntary interaction, no harm, no crime, no victim, right? But anyways, but this guy didn't even, it was another one of those things, just a false accusation by someone that gets to remain anonymous. Like, somebody can just call up the cops, remain anonymous. And this fucking guy, obviously what had happened is the cops, tried to approach him. They accused him, obviously, and they said they're going to arrest him. And he's like, no, I am not a fucking, but because he didn't comply, and like I said, they don't give you the full details of how that actually all entirely unfolded. But basically what I suspect is the guy just didn't fucking bend over or comply. And the cop escalated to the point where the man got shot, and I believe he died. I think the cop killed him, if I remember exactly, based on a fucking goddamn anonymous tip that was completely baseless. And it was proven after that fact. Like I say, if you read the story in the article, and I believe I made a video covering that. Like I say, I got over 1,020 videos on my channel. So if you go to the search, the eyeglass there, not the eyeglass, but yeah, if you do a search with the magnifying glass and type in just keywords, because I always tag all of my videos with keywords. If you type in keywords, you'll find a lot of videos covering a lot of stuff that I've dealt with over. I mean, think about it, for years now. I mean, I forget. That's the thing. I forget because I can't try to remember all of these things. Just 1,000 videos alone. That doesn't count all the other things that I don't cover, because I don't do a video covering every goddamn incident, topic, or article that ever happens. I could never be able to do it. But in those 1,000 videos alone, yeah, the stuff that I've covered, if you put it all together, add it all together, that's the thing, because we're all only dealing with certain things day by day by day by day, and your short-term memory makes you have to move on, because I mean, otherwise we'd all fucking be going insane at this point in time, right? But if you had all that stuff up in your cranium that action happened, just the 1,000+ things that I reported on in my videos, like you fucking, like, I don't know how you can, like, how could you be a well-adjusted person in such an insanely sick society these days? I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I'm not sure about this particular incident. It's scary just bringing it up. Dina was my friend, and she was murdered by the RCP in Quesnel. Lonnie Lendrum was a witness. They tried to kill him. We're a small community, and small communities is where they'll fuck with you most. That's the thing. That because they're fucking. Oh, you got to be careful. You really got to be careful, and always be in a position to defend yourself in some way. Right? Don't cause harm. Don't be preemptive. But at least have the ability to defend yourself, because no one else is going to do it for you. You are ultimately, at the end of the day, you are the one that's responsible for your own fucking life, and you need to do what's best, whatever you got to do to protect yourself from those kind of situations or circumstances. And then Terry, I urge folks to read about the James Roscoe and how he managed to. Oh, this is the opposite then. So he killed. So that was the opposite thing. I speak out of being involved with politics. Oh yeah, I read that one already. Halifax Max. Wiggles loves smashing phones, not destroying evidence. Resistant risks. I solo, but know all different groups except fake ones made. Honor connections. Be able to sell them as single. There's a huge reset coming, including a global. Oh, credit. Yeah, I remember that. Okay, Brad was saying to go pump up your credit cards. So whatever. I would not necessarily sure I'd offer that advice, but hey. Well, I went to the. Oh yeah, okay, saw that too. Okay, I just sent you the video. Okay, now I got to scroll down quite a bit. Keenan over Purple Face any day. Keen over Purple Face any day. They gave him. Oh yeah, okay. Overpaid corruption clowns. Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. Anyone want to try that out? All right, just do a little experiment. Have a cam on you, like some kind of the GoPro cam, or someone else recording you as you're doing it. It'd be a great experiment for some to do. You know, go down to the U.S. legally, because as a Canadian, you know, you're allowed to go down to the U.S. and just for the hell of it, as an experiment, and make it known, like when you get there, after it's all said and done, say, hey, this was just an experiment. Actually, I'll go back and cross at the regular border. I just wanted to see what you guys were going to do here, because I just want to know, is it the color of our skin? I don't know. Like I say, give it a shot. Worst case scenario, you get your a bellhop to carry your luggage for you, and gold-plated services for 20 years, right? You get services that you're not allowed to as a regular Canadian. So I don't know, like I say, not too much you can lose on that experiment. Give it a shot. Okay. Yeah, those things, like as far as like it's not a country, it's a corporation. I get all that stuff, but none of that stuff, like even if you could somehow make the case, and I get what you're saying, but that's what it is. Basically, a government store. It's it's a tax farm. That's what Canada is. What do you think bonds are, right? So yes, you know, some of this stuff is quasi true, like in terms of Canada as a corporation, in terms of being traded. Listen, government bonds, like, are exactly like I say, just like if you owned livestock and you wanted to go to the bank to get a loan, well, you would use your livestock as collateral. Like if you had 100 cows and you want to borrow some money from the bank, and those cows are productive, right? You get not just milk, but beef and cheese and all that stuff. The bank will lend you money because you have productive livestock. You have cattle, you have pigs, you have chickens on your farm. You have resources that, you know, are profitable. So yes, the government is benefiting like a corporation and profiting because we're on a tax farm, right? Yes, we're tax chattel. Yes, 100%. But how does that change anything? Doesn't really change. What, to change the government from a corporation to what? Just regular old government? No. Government is what it all is. Government, the term corporation, that's the thing when people say, like, country is a corporation. The term corporation was created by government. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. Look it up yourself. Take time, as much time of your day as you want to learn this information out, and you'll see I'm not bullshitting you. The term corporation is an act of legislation. So governments are what create corporations. So it's government. It's the government that the tax revenue, right? It goes to this. This is the problem with people that get this whole thing with pointing their fingers at corporations. Not that I'm defending corporations, but like I say, you got to understand how it works. Government's here, corporation is here, right? Government has all the tools, the army, the law enforcement, the police officers, the courts, right? The legislators, the politicians. Government. You don't go into a corporation assuming that they're your authority or can take from you against your will. No corporation can do that. No Canadians believe that. So we're not under threat of corporations per se, other than corporations that have government backing them, right? If they have the full force of government backing them in terms of rules, regulations, or policy or legislation, then yes, corporations can be very much detrimental and a threat to us, but only by using the government as a means to that end. Government is the problem. Government creates all the problems. And every time you try to point out the corporations and get people focusing on businesses rather than the government that turns the businesses into a corporation where they no longer have actual liability or responsibility and can socialize their losses. The reason why a business or a corporation can socialize their losses or get bailouts is because government makes that happen. Government creates the rules. Government creates the legislation. So stop focusing on the corporation, focus on the government, because then the corporation ceases to exist as this entity that can plunder you. All right. It's the government that allows that all to happen. I've had to, especially people on the left, I've had to have this conversation so many fucking time with people on the left where all they want to do is rail against government. And what the hilarious part is, oh, how are you going to go after those corporations? Oh, we'll get government to write rules to fuck them over. Oh, really? Oh, no one's ever thought of that. We'll just use government to destroy, corporations, right? Meanwhile, governments what create corporations, and governments are what tax corporations and benefit from corporations and dictate regulations and benefit from all that, right? Like I say, you just got to know where the problem really. If you don't know where the problem is, lies the real problem. If you don't know where the real problem lies, you're never going to fucking come up with a solution. Which is why all the lefties, put yourself in a bunch of circle of lefties that just want to rail against the corporation, see what they'll do. You just be fucking circle jerking and wasting your time for the rest of the rest of your goddamn life. Because the true culprit is government. It's the belief. It's the people's belief in their authority. That's the problem. It's the belief in statism. That is the problem. That's what's destroying all your liberties. It isn't Walmart. It isn't Canadian Tire, right? Isn't Loblaws. Oh, come on. I don't know. Sorry for getting a little frustrated. It was just, I've had to deal with this so many times for so long now. It's like, it's just, people should be like, if you just think about it critically, just enough, just like a little bit, and you'll realize that, no, government's the problem. Sure is a corporation made up of smaller corporations. They come and go when you know what goes through the fucking road. The clown's been in quarantine for days. Okay. Have asked for a pension. Okay. Oh, we're down here now. Okay. Yeah, we're faster than you. Yeah. Isn't that what fucked everyone 2008? Yeah, kinda. Yeah. Too big to fail is exactly. Yeah. But that's the thing. the banksters, right? All the big banking institutions and all these corporations and the too big to fail. But how did they actually get bailed out? How did they become too big to fail? By government edict, by government legislation. It was those in government and the media that said, oh, they're too big to fail, and they bailed them out. Government is what made that happen. JP Morgan Chase, Lehman Brothers, none of these corporations could have done fuck to get themselves out of the trouble they were in without government doing so. Think about it. You think JP Morgan Chase has their own fucking money printing machine, right? Well, I mean, they are a banking institution, but they're not the ones that create the actual, like, that's the thing. You got to understand macro monetary policy. You got to understand the money supply, right? M1, M2, M3. If you understand that, no, the banking institutions wouldn't have been able to bail themselves out. I mean, even if they tried, it would have failed miserably. It required big government and the central bank, and the central bank, which is the Bank for International Settlements. It required a concerted effort of central banks and government to make that bailout or that pretense of too big to fail happen. Once again, trace the source all the way back. Lots of culprits along the way. You'll see there's lots of people that you can point their fingers to, but you'll see that road leads to one place, straight to government. Even the central bank, they're not private. The Federal Reserve is not a private bank, even though people try to say it. The central bank, the Federal Reserve, was created as an act of legislation in the United States, just like in Canada, the Bank of Canada. Once again, don't take my word for it. Look this stuff up for yourself. The Bank of Canada, it's called the Bank of Canada Act. It's an act of legislation. So the Bank of Canada, the Central Bank of Canada, was created by government. Government's the culprit every time. Whatever you perceive to be a problem, business, like a corporation, a bank, right? The stock market. Once again, look to the culprit and who sets the rules. Look to those who have the authority to dictate the rules of engagement economically and socially, and you'll see government, every time, always government. We're on fire. I knew this junkie bitch that would rat out on her lesser drug dealer for a $200 conviction bonus to spend on. Yeah, no doubt. Fuck. I don't know about you folks, but as a Gen Xer growing up, it was drilled into our head, and I'm glad. I love the concept. Don't be a fucking rat. Well, unless it's against government, right? Those who want to dictate and control your life. Whistleblowing on big government, right? Yeah, for sure. Because those are the people are these pretense of the authorities that rule over every aspect of our social or economic lives. But yeah, being a rat just for the sake of being a rat, yeah, never a rat. Like Tattletales was when I was real young, when I was just little grade school, you were called Tattletales, not a rat. As I got older into the teen years and stuff, that's when you heard more like, don't be a rat. But even when I was a little kid, you still hear, don't be a tattletale, right? Good advice. Like, unless it's big government, that's the exception, because big government is that monopoly of force or violence that imposes its will on every one of us. So a little different there. But for we the people, being a rat, especially when people are doing things that aren't, like, it'd be a totally different thing if you saw someone, raping someone, then it's okay. Well, first, don't intervene yourself and stop that shit if you're a man. First of all, check your fucking balls, and if you got some testes down there, own up that you are a man and help that woman out, right? Or if you're too weak or wimpy, look for someone else that can, because the cops are going to be, minutes away when that shit's happening. So you want someone that's in the immediate surrounding to help someone that's in potential threat or danger, right? So, there are times where you do need to tell on people, right? Or to be a rat in some way, although that's not being the rat. The rat means, informing government. Really, that's what a rat is, or being a tattletale is ratting on your people, your peers, towards big government or the authority, right? That's what, and we, like I say, I was raised, and most of us, you understood that. Yeah, don't do that shit. Nowadays, apparently, it's fucking quite normal. Well, look, now you have such things as like these tip lines, anonymous tip lines. You can just rat on people all day, day, and get a reward for it, for fuck's sakes. For people that are for victimless crimes, right? Like, holy shit. I mean, how many people have been fucked over with these impaired charges because they had a few drinks, made it home perfectly safe, aren't a threat or a danger to anyone, but because they've supposedly broken the law of exceeding that 0.08 or 0.05 kind of thing. Yeah. How many people rat on people for that and destroy their fucking lives and livelihoods for something that, once again, no victim, no crime, as far as I'm concerned. Now, if you've caused harm to someone, it's a different story. But if you're not causing harm to anyone, no victim, no crime. I have been for you, Canadian Libertarian. We actually bumped into each other and passed and chatted. I have photographic memory. Nice. Bumped into each other in person, you mean? FACO XP Utherverse Social Center. Is that what you're saying? Like in person? Because yeah, like probably. Quite a talkative guy, not just online, but even in person. 24 December, they came to get my hubby, saying a hubby escaped convict and was in their car to ask him, is your wife dangerous? Bunch of fuckers. Got to be careful. 2 ethics violations, no common sense. 50% of us voted for it? Nope. Trudeau got his minority mandate with what? 30-something%. Even the majority mandate under Trudeau in the last election, 2015, and Harper before that was like 39-40%. And that was just those who chose to vote. When you're talking about those percentage rates, that's just those who actually went to vote. Like I say, that still doesn't even represent the majority of people who don't vote. Because in Canada, under the first past the post system, I've said this many times in the past too, and I'll try to tie it up real quick here and talk about this stuff is, if there's 30 million eligible voters, on average, maybe 15 or 16 million or so is who will show up to vote. There's actually a majority. There's actually more people who stay home and don't vote who are eligible to vote that represent a larger majority than those who do vote. And those who do vote, you got to break up that into percentages and which party they support. So the Liberals or the Conservative government can get a majority government with just a sheer 38-39% of the vote of those who actually vote, and as a representation of the actual adult population of eligible voters in this country in the low 20% mark. 21, 22, 23% is all it takes to gain a majority government in this country under the first past the post system. And that's just 100% truth. That's just reality. That's just because math, I'm good at math. That's just 100% reality. That, yeah, very, very small, not even, like I say, not even close to a majority, like 50% plus one, right? Nope. We're talking less than 1 in 4, less than 25% of the adult people who are eligible to vote. Because like I say, that's leaving all the people on the sidelines that aren't voting. Because like I say, there's millions and millions of them. If you take all of them, though, that are eligible to vote, the people that do show up to vote, out of that entire cohort of people that are eligible to vote, only 20-something% of them are the ones that give Trudeau his mandate, or Harper before him, right? So we're ruled over by a minority, always and forever. Even though it's a democracy where majority rule, it should be really, under the first past the post system in modern Canada, it should be called a majority or a democracy where a majority rule. It's plurality rule. Right? We live under plurality rule, not majority rule. And that's, like I say, 100% truth, not bullshitting you in any way. How do you protect yourself from the RCMP? When you're on probation. Oh, when you're on probation. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're in a situation, you have to be wise enough. Don't do anything foolish, right? So, I mean, I've been in situations where, yeah, like sometimes you just have to do what needs to be done, right? Submit at certain times, unless you want to keep escalating up to the point where it's your life or theirs, but then you have to make that decision yourself. And I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. That's the problem. When you live under tyranny, it's really difficult to do anything. As the German people, the Russian people, the Korean people, the Vietnamese people. I mean, well, basically every country around the world, not just those countries, but tyranny is rough, folks. And it's really hard to try to talk your way out of it, which is why you never want to allow government to get to the point where you can. Government should be so weak and so minute and have such a limited amount of power that they can't be a threat. That's the point. That was the point of the founding fathers, reducing the capacity and greatly limiting and restricting the power of the federal government or the government in general in the U.S. is make sure, because they knew what the potential threat could be. If you keep it contained with very, very minimal power, it can't be that big of a threat. Like I say, if you give government a BB gun, right? It can be a bit of a threat, but not too much. If you hand it over, a machine gun, right, can be a real serious threat. It's all about limiting that size and scope of government. The government is so big now, is you can't to pretend that you can just, I don't know, wish it away or somehow protect yourself from this ginormous bureaucracy, this state that we currently live under. Well, like I say, no, the only way that's going to happen is affecting the minds of the minions. If you affect the psychology in the minds of the minions, where you're not just a couple people trying to fight against the overarching monolith called the state, if you get a substantial portion of that population, especially a well-armed population, that can be just as big a threat against government as the government can be as a threat towards them, then that's when the power paradigm shifts, right? That's the thing. You have to have citizens that are not just brave, bold enough, and educated, but armed, that could be a threat towards big government. If you're not a threat towards big government wins every time. Simple as that. That's why the Second Amendment in the U.S. was so vitally important. That's why it was the Second Amendment. Your first rights is freedom of speech and all this, but hey, you're not going to have any of those rights without the Second Amendment. That's what the Founding Fathers recognized instinctively, and that's why they made that the Second Amendment. In Canada, well, we don't quite have a Second Amendment, but because we're a northern climate, where there was a lot of historical hunting, gathering, and fishing, then yes, there are a lot of armed Canadian citizens in this country. So there are a lot of citizens that can be a threat and push back against big government, but most of them at this particular time work for government. So that's the thing with government. They want to take on all the most dangerous people and the most threatening people to be under their thumb or among their ranks, because then they can control them. That's the problem. Whatever you do, don't resist. You get beaten for that. Well, yeah, they can do that. Right? Or they could even say that you resisted and do it anyways. If they're not wearing a body camera, and get away with it. So Canadian Audits YouTube, check it out. Canadian Audits YouTube. Freedom Inspector. Canadian Audits YouTube. Cop, stop resisting while he beats you and shakes his body cam vigorously to give the they close down the government. We should not have to pay our taxes. You should not pay taxes. Hey, taxation is theft, by the way. Hashtag taxation is theft. 100%. That's another thing. Taxation is theft. Won't speak for anyone else, but I'll speak for me. 49 years old, never given permission to one politician ever in my life or anyone in government to take any portion of my income. They just do it against my will. I've complained, but neither my employer is willing, if I'm working for an employer, right? Or the government, when I go to, or the grocery clerk, nobody's willing to own up to the fact that the government doesn't have authority over me. The waitresses, the grocery clerks, the retailers, the people that work in all those, businesses or corporations, your employee, they all believe in the authority of the state. So they abide by the edicts and force you to comply. That's the thing. Government doesn't have to actually come down with the authoritarian measures to make sure that you comply, because everyone in society, not everyone, but the bulk of people in society are so heavily indoctrinated in the religion of statism, in the cult of statism, that they'll enforce those edicts themselves. See what I mean? See where the problem is? How could we fix all this? The only true way you fix it is you get all those people, like I say, the employers, the workers, the providers, the people that build things, all those people that government uses for their tax foundation or their tax purposes. You got to get all those people to stop believing in the cult of statism. Stop believing that government has the authority to plunder your income or your prosperity. If you get them to stop doing that, that's where freedom lies. But where does that freedom lie truly? In the minds of the masses, which is why I always say, we don't want a violent revolution. You want an intellectual evolution where people are thinking critically about the issues, or they don't believe in forced subjugation or slavery anymore. If you get people to stop thinking about what we live under now as just being a citizen, if they understood that actually you're a modern day wage slave or tax serf to a ruling class, if people actually understood that like you and I do, then they would no longer feel the desire or compelled to defend their authoritarian masters, right? They might be more willing to allow you to not have to be forcefully imposed in terms of having to pay up your tax. They might say, oh yeah, no, don't worry about it. Go ahead, right? Yeah, no, I know it's no, they're fucking stealing anyways. No, don't worry, we won't take any money for you for the government, right? But until you get those people thinking critically about these issues and you get that kind of intellectual evolution where people actually understand what the actual world they live in, because until people recognize that the tax farm they live on, if they still look out there and believe that they're living in some pretense of freedom, right? That they're like, oh, look, I got freedom, because they got blinders on. They've been indoctrinated. They cannot, they're like a horse, right? They can't see outside that tunnel vision that's been forced and thrust into their head. If you took the blinders off and they could see the real world for what it is, they'd be like, holy fuck, which is what you have to do. But it starts up here. That's where the real blinders are. It's in the people's mind. There's parts of the human mind, most Canadian citizens, that are helplessly and hopelessly indoctrinated, that their mind is completely closed off to the things that I know and you know. That's what we got to do to help people out. And if you help those people out, it'll help us out. That's why you have to spread this information around and not just consume it for yourself. Get it to people that really need to hear. And I know it's not easy. It's not easy to fucking break these people out of their indoctrination. Like, there's lots of ways you can do it yourself. I found the 4-question quest for freedom, the one that I put up, the myth of authority. That works really well for me. And maybe I'll do another video. Hey, you know what? I'll do another video on the 4 questions just to get a new updated video about it. Because like I say, that's something that you can use to help break people free from that indoctrinated mindset, because you don't have to do it yourself. The way I've got the 4 questions set up is they can do it themselves. They read the questions and they answer it for themselves in their own mind. And the answers, if they're consistent in any way, logically consistent, and understand and grasp even the slightest hint of reality, as they read through the questions and they answer them honestly and truthfully, even if they're just doing it in their own mind, they realize, oh, fuck, shit, he's right. There's actually no such thing as legitimate government. No such thing. It's all completely built on fiction. It's a fabrication implanted in your mind from a very young age. I know that sounds like, ooh, are you 100% serious about that? Mine says 31 likes. Oh, that's good to know, Brad Garth. People must have been hitting the old like button now. Sweet. If they close down the government, we should. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm probably going to soon tie it up here. It's going on 2 hours, and rather go another whole hour here because there's not a whole lot of people in the stream today anyway. So, okay, have a hand in the government's pocket, and the government has a hand in the corporate. Oh. Governments create corporations, right? It's the government's created it. And if the government has its hand in the pocket, it's because once again, they're lobbying their masters, right? They have to ask government. So once again, not defending corporations, just once again, understand that corporations are a legal fiction created by an act of legislation. So they only do because it's what they were designed to do. I get it. I get your point, but cheese, great snack after 420. Yeah. Oh, I love cheese. Oh yeah, I freaking love cheese. In all seriousness, when do we take our country back? That's the thing. It's not up to us. And there's only 17 people. We can't do shit. Need a whole lot more than us. That's the problem. Which is why you got to get to at least the precipice. If you could get at least a full 10%, just 10%, not a majority by any stretch. I'm not expecting the majority, but if you can get at least 10% of the Canadian population, might not even need a full 10%, but even if you could get 10% of the population thinking as critically about these issues as you or I do, then you can have a real profound effect. Especially if you have the right 10% of the population, right? Because once again, the Pareto distribution principle, we're the most confident people. We're not all the same, right? One person, one guy, can be a lot more competent or more powerful than even 2 or 3 other people. So you have to have the right 10% of people. But if you get, like I say, around 10% of the population on board and sick and tired of this shit, well, you can change things in a real hurry, really quick, by being a serious show of force against the authoritarians that are dictating and controlling their lives. But you need that. And what I've seen, especially after the Trudeau election and the participation rate in terms of voter turnout, We're so far away from that. I mean, come on. The PPC and Maxime Bernier. Maxime lost a seat and the PPC didn't get shit. No success whatsoever. So the Canadian people, that's why we're a minority. That's why I have a small number of people that are watching my video. We're just too small. We're just too small of a minority to be very effective in change, which is why I try every day. I try to expand those numbers, but without expanding those numbers, we're all just wasting a lot of time here, folks, without expanding the numbers. So sorry, but that's just the truth of the matter. We need more people. You need more people to stop fucking bickering and fighting with each other and hating on each other and trying to outdo each other and trying to be fucking attention whores. And if you could get all that and recognize that there's a hierarchy of competence and actually get around the leaders that actually know what the fuck they're talking about rather than everyone like us. But that's the thing. Everyone's still trying to chest pump and I want to be the alpha male. Okay, well, can you prove that you can do it? Like, listen, I'm the type of guy, 100% the type of guy. If someone else out there is way smarter, more competent than I am, has a better grasp on all this, I'm looking for them. Like, actually, I would say in Canada, Stefan Molyneux. If I want to say someone that maybe not physically stronger, but has even a higher intellect and grasp on these things than even I do, yes, I all hail. No, not really. I don't worship the guy, but I mean, I will say, and I'll admit that this is the guy. If there's going to be a plan, let's listen to this guy. He seems to have a better grasp than even I do. So let's listen to what this guy's got to say, because I recognize his hierarchy of competence in particular fields, right? But other than Molyneux, and I know who all these other, listen, I see lots of the other Canadian YouTube. I have not seen one that even comes close to me. Never mind Stefan Molyneux. If I see it, like I say, I'll back that. Hell, I don't even want necessarily be the general. I'll just throw me on the front lines. I'll just be a fucking infantryman. I know I'm using army fucking terminology here, there, because we're talking about battles and all this stuff, right? But like I say, I'd be more than willing to. I'll even sit there halfway in the back of the bus or throw me back. I don't care. As soon as I see someone else that's competent, because to me, it's not just an ego thing. But I do recognize my own competence. I have my whole fucking life. I can't help it. How could I not recognize my own competence? I do, right? I've succeeded in pretty much mostly everything I've ever done, unless someone's cheated. The only time I've ever, well, I mean, I failed, but I found use that way of that failure as a means to become even more successful. The only time I've ever actually done poorly in anything or lost was when someone cheated. So big government fucked me over, or like in a race or something, someone cheated by jumping the gun on the line, right? If we weren't at an actual track where we actually had it timed through a timing light system. If someone jumps the gun and win a race because they took off before I did, when you're supposed to take off at the same time in a drag race, well, if they cheated if they won because they cheated, well, it doesn't mean they're more competent. It just means they're a cheater, right? Like I say, I don't see who the competent people out there in Canada. That, first of all, because you have to have a good grasp or understand what it is. You have to be brave and bold as fuck. You have to show some real strength of character and courage and be honest and trustworthy. Who the hell out, like I say, anyone else want to step up the plate? Go right ahead and take over. Go right ahead. Don't care. But I don't see it, which is why I continue to do what I do. But I don't know. Like I say, blah, 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 blah. It is what it is. My neighbor drives transport truck, unload beer, free trade for your apple. Stay off the streets, avoid them, have been accepted to get smokes. Yeah, be careful, Jesse. Be careful. Be careful. Get some of those dipshits on a power trip or having a bad day. Yeah. Moncton cop shooter apparently payback for his friend. Oh, are you talking about what was that one again? Justin Bork. You're talking about the Bork incident, aren't you? That was pretty wild. Man, that guy was a good shot. He was a good shot. Well, as with most people in New Brunswick, that's the one thing I will say about people in my neck of the woods is get a lot of people who are really great shots. I mean, they've been shooting guns since they were like where I grew up, man. It's normal. It's as normal as breathing in the places where a lot of the places where I've grown up, the areas like because I'm in a small community, rural community, all these little rural communities. Go to any one of them, you'll see, man, there's some really, really fucking competent people with weapons. Really competent people with weapons. And you can tell that Justin Bork was definitely one of them, right? I believe that's what you're talking about, Jesse. Maybe people don't vote because no one deserves their vote. That's true. Unfortunately, politicians are not required to do anything they promise or to even. Oh yeah, I never complain against the people that don't participate. I'm usually one of those people. I only voted once federally, and that was last election. That was only because I figured I'd give it a chance and try to support the PPC because I thought maybe possibly that there could possibly be something like a political disruption, like what has happened. Like look at UKIP in the UK, right? But because they were disenfranchised and stuff. But in Canada, no. Canadians chose to stick with the status quo in the U.S. Now, Trump used one of the established parties, but Trump is so not connected with the establishment. Like that's why they were all against him. So outsiders, it took an outsider of the U.S. to challenge the status quo in the establishment, and the American people elected him. So American people were like, yeah. They knew what needed to take place, even though I'm not saying they made the best choice, but they knew that was the only potential chance to push back against the status quo or the establishment. Same with the UK. They took the chance and they did it. And both of them are seemingly doing better than we are. Canadians, no, didn't do shit. That's why, like I said, I don't hold out a lot of hope for Canada at this particular junction because most Canadians aren't in the same mindset or in the same place we are. And the ones that don't vote, yeah, I don't blame them. Don't blame them at all. I don't believe in picking rulers either, but because most of the rest of the Canadian population do, or at least that plurality of ones that do show up, right? Because they do, it's like, well, if I can at least counter their numbers by going and checking a name on a box, then I'll do it too. It's not like I have any faith in it or anything. And I was proven that, yeah, my original suspicions were correct all along. It was just going to be a big fucking waste of time. Although it wasn't, like you say, it didn't take very long. So to me, it's like, oh, whatever, go check a box, whatever, big deal, right? Not that I want to give any legitimacy to these dipshits, but that's not what I'm doing. I'm trying to use it as a means to counter them. But yeah, it didn't work. Voting didn't work. If voting did work, like they say, wouldn't be allowed to do it. But yeah, the people that don't vote, totally respect those people. Keep in mind that most politicians are lawyers. This means they sold their souls long. Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's. I agree wholeheartedly with that statement, Gato. They are. Well, they're willing to lie. They're professional liars. That's what they do. Like they'll protect anyone, even the most vile people, and lie for them. So, can't be easy. It's got to get you after a while. Strong arm by legal aid and crown and into 6 months sentence. Okay. So this guy had a protest. He let the police line run into him, fell and screamed. That's what the resistance looks like. Okay, I think I'm going to tie her up there, folks. Yeah, it kind of looks like everyone's kind of finished doing it. Yeah, it looks like everyone's kind of slowing down, and there's not a whole lot of people to chat anyway. So, anyways, like I said, thanks. Yeah, 208. So thanks for joining on this stream. Like I say, at least I did get to include the education part of it, because like I say, borders, education, economics, all these things are going to be something that people are going to have to definitely reflect upon. This coronavirus apparently is going to be able to do a much better job than even me in terms of getting people to think about these issues critically. So whatever it takes, like I say, I don't care, whatever it takes. Not a big fan of something like this. It happened to take something like this to happen for people to think about these things. But hey, it's here now. It is what it is. So at the very least, I do recognize that people are going to start to think about these things, or at least more and more people are. And, maybe we will all be better off as a consequence or result. Anyways, like I say, don't forget about the stream I'm going to be doing on Tuesday. It's not going to be on my channel, but I will, once we're live, I will share a link. As soon as the guy gives me the link and we're live, I will be sharing the link to my Facebook, my Canadian Libertarian Facebook page, my Canadian Libertarian Twitter account, my Canadian Libertarian Minds page, and probably my Canadian Libertarian Gab page. I'll put it on all 4 of those platforms. And then you just click on it and join it. Or if you don't want to do it at that particular time while we're live, I will probably, as long as the guy gives me permission, re-upload it to my own channel because I'm going on to their YouTube channel called AGX Media. And like I say, he's going to be kind of help expand upon and explain to me their cryptocurrency that they're trying to create that's going to be backed by silver, which in this day and age, to protect your bottom line and give you the ability to, retain that purchasing power. Yeah, that's something, like I say, I'm really interested to hear what they've got to say. So, like I say, that'll be Tuesday. Yeah, this Tuesday was it the 13th? Or sorry, the 17th. Oh yeah, today's Monday. Oh shit, that's tomorrow. Whoa. So so tomorrow, so that's going to be tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah, tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Like I say, I'll place a link to his channel so that you can all find it, or you can just wait till it's uploaded on my channel if he allows me. In the meantime, stay safe, take care of yourself out there and those you love. It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.